Hello the internet and welcome back to my channel. Today I have what I hope is going to be a short video about this machine. I went to collect a 256 megabyte of RAM module and I walked out with this whole computer for free. Now this is an eMachines 730 and the sticker here says it features an Intel Pentium 4 processor 1.5 GHz with 255 megabytes of RAM, which is the RAM that I went to purchase from the seller, and then they just decided to get rid of the whole thing for nothing. Now, LGR has featured one of these computers on one of his videos. His machines was in much better shape. This unfortunately will never be in a better shape unless I try and find the missing bits. But it's a nice little machine, and I understand that one of the reasons why it's kind of infamous is just there were some models, at least in the US, with a sticker here that said never obsolete, which really reminds me of a Homer Simpson episode where Homer buys a $5,000 computer with the promise that it's never going to be obsolete, it's always going to be the best computer ever.
This is the best computer in the world and always will be, right?
Absolutely.
Now, there's really nothing too special about this machine. It's quite a nice machine. It would have been better with the DVD and the cover here, but I haven't tested it. And the thing is, I also have an AGP card here, which is a GeForce 2 MX 400, which I need to test on an AGP machine, and this has an AGP slot. And by coincidence, this machine used to have a GeForce 2 MX 400, and this is a GeForce 2 MX 400, so that's the perfect card for this machine, even though it's not exactly the very card that came with the machine. Now, the hard drive is also missing, and I believe also the metalwork that hold the hard drive, so I don't think I have a good way to install the hard drive. It's going to be loose for the time being. I want to see whether this motherboard works, the CPU, give it a clean, I guess, and I thought I'll just do that on video and we can explore together what's inside this machine. So before we start looking into this thing, a quick shout to my sponsor PCBWay. More on that in a minute, but I would say let's start looking into this and see what I found. Now, the motherboard says doubling on it, and there is a sticker here at the back that says manufactured by Trigem, and the RetroWeb page actually has a Trigem doubling motherboard which sports a socket 478 and the Intel 845 chipset. And there is a mention of eMachines doubling as a manufacturer or a user, OEM user of these motherboards. So that is the motherboard that we have in front of us. I can see there is no BIOS available on the RetroWeb for this machine, so if it works at some point we can try and extract the BIOS so we can upload it on the website. Now, removing the shrouds reveals a cooler master cooler, pretty dusty, and quite a small power supply with a weird form factor. That's not an ATX, it is an ATX power supply, but that's not it's kind of a smaller version, which is quite nice. It's nice to have a smaller power supply like that. Now, before I continue, let me use my air compressor to remove the dust from this machine. It was dusty, particularly the power supply, but everything was really dusty. It looks so much better now. The first good news is that I don't see swollen capacitors, which is great news because this was manufactured between 1999 and 2001, so year 2000 more or less. So, which I believe it's when the capacitor plague happened. But no, these are, well, at least they look okay. I guess we will know soon, and the first thing I'd like to try is to remove all these wires, take a better look at the motherboard, and particularly remove the heatsink, of course, the cooling fan, and check the processor, and also repaste it, because I guess, you know, from year 2000, it's definitely a good idea to just repaste it now. Oh, okay. Well, paste is dry, but not completely. I guess it would have worked a bit, even though obviously it needs new paste as anything from year 2000. Now, this is indeed a Pentium 4 1.5 GHz, and this is my very first Pentium 4. My fastest retro CPU is a K62. I'd like to spark a little debate here. I think one of the reasons why I really never collected anything more than a Pentium is that in my mind a retro PC is a Pentium. Maybe a Pentium, maybe a socket one. Could that be a Pentium 2, Pentium 3? Pentium 4, I don't know. I start having the feeling that that's not a retro computer anymore. You know, Windows XP, it's a great operating system. Is it retro? In my mind, the retro PC is maximum Windows 98. Windows XP is so much better. It allows you to do many more things. But in my mind, it's getting too close to present days. So what do you think about it? I'm curious to hear your opinion. I'm sure that some of you will be screaming at the screen right now, but that's what I'm getting. Of course, this is going to be a better computer than a socket 7 motherboard. It will have USB working better. AGP is going to be so much faster, more memory, more games are going to be better. It's just in my mind is really not a retro computer. What do you think about it? Do let me know, leave a comment. Let's start a little debate. This is the memory module that I purchased, and I understand it came from this PC, so let's put it back. Now this is the video card that I like to test. I know it works in 2D, it's just the 3D, I'm not sure about that. So I know that the fan is a bit on the noisy side, and I have unscrewed it. So let's see if I can peel off this sticker and just add a drop of oil. Look. Before we continue with the eMachines, a quick shout to my sponsor, PCBWay. Whether you need a PCB for your own project or whether you found something online and you'd like the PCB manufactured, then PCBWay is your stop. All you need is the Gerber file of the project and you can upload it very easily on PCBWay.com. The system is more or less automatic, a few clicks, and the PCBs will be delivered at your place. I have been using PCBWay for some of my projects on my channel, and I've always been pretty happy with the quality, so I can definitely vouch for the quality of the PCBs. If you need something 3D printed or a PCB fully populated with components, then go on PCBWay.com and take a look at their additional services. Take a look at PCBWay.com, the link is also down below in the description. Let me thank PCBWay for sponsoring this channel, their help makes these videos possible. So thank you very much PCBWay, and now let's go back to the eMachines. Okay, this should be ready to go. I have plugged the front panel into the wiring so I can turn it on. Let me give it power to the power supply now. We've got mains power going in. Oh, it started by itself. Fair enough. We got a picture. Okay, it's working. Yay! eMachines. Amazing. How do I get into the BIOS? I don't want to see this. Yeah, okay, there it is. Phoenix BIOS version 1.0. CPU Intel Pentium 4 processor 1.5, that's good. 255 system RAM passed, video, blah blah blah. Check date and time, of course. Yeah, that all defaults. The battery, we can check the battery might be dead, but this is working. Great, we got a Pentium 4. Amazing. Well, I would say let me plug a hard drive and a CD drive and we can install Windows XP with the code which is at the back, by the way. So this comes with a Windows XP. Which version? XP Home, unfortunately. But anyways, and we can test everything. And most importantly, in my case, I want to see whether that 3D card, that GeForce 2, is actually working. The battery is completely depleted, so it will need a new one. That's better. Everything is ready, hard drive, CD-ROM, new battery, and the Windows XP CD disk. So let's power it up and let's install Windows XP. The installation went well, and I reached the desktop in no time. Before getting there, of course, I was greeted by the familiar Windows XP sounds. After installing the latest NVIDIA drivers and the 3D Mark 2000, I was finally able to confirm that my GeForce 2 MX400 was indeed working. I do recommend you watch my Retro PC upgrade video where everything just went wrong. This was an opportunity for me to test a video card which refused to work on that Socket 7 system. However, when I went to test Unreal Tournament, I was greeted by this. What is that? Half a frame per second? So is my MX400 really faulty and the cause of all my headaches in the upgrade video I mentioned? Well, no, I learned that NVIDIA drivers back then were not the best, and sometimes newer is not better. Reverting to the more popular 45.23 driver version completely resolved the problem. So yes, the video card is working fine, and also the eMachines. A few days have passed and I think I've managed to collect a few items which will help me making this computer as original as possible. Not sure what I have to sing in mind, but hey, let's do that. The first thing is the hard drive. Now this is a Seagate 40GB hard drive, and I'm told that this very hard drive belonged to this computer here. And if we look at the front panel here, the front panel confirms that there used to be a 40GB hard drive inside this computer, so that should be the one. Now, as I said, there's no bracket anymore for the hard drive on this computer. I think it used to be in this area here. Unfortunately, I only have a 5¼ slot here, so I purchased this little adapter from AliExpress, and it just fits the hard drive in here, and I should be able to install it in that slot in there, so that should work. The other thing is the video card. Now, according to the front panel again, this computer used to have a GeForce 2 MX400 in it when it was purchased. Now, I happen to have one, which I purchased for a different project, and this would work totally fine, it's exactly that. But from the same seller, I managed to find what looks like the actual MX400, which used to be inside this very computer. So that should make it more or less 100%. Only the CD-ROM or DVD-ROM is missing, but that was sold some time ago, so I cannot possibly recover that one. So let me install the hard drive. I will reinstall Windows XP on that hard drive. I will swap the thermal paste of this video card, because I guess it's going to be crusty, as usually happens with these old video cards, and then we can test it together. Oh well. There's really not much on this board, is there? So I guess I'm not actually replacing the thermal paste, I'm actually putting proper thermal paste on this board for the very first time. When I went to inspect the floppy drive to clean it, I was greeted by a long human hair. I can tell you one thing for sure, it wasn't mine. Out of curiosity, I took a peek of the content of the hard drive. It had Windows Home on it as expected, and it was incredibly slow, bloated by some silly apps like the Driver Inspector, which made me giggle. However, when I ran Word, I was greeted by an old friend. I'm sure we all remember it. I ended up installing my copy of Windows XP Pro, as activating Windows XP Online is not straightforward in 2024, as Microsoft turned those servers off years ago. Well, I'm pretty happy with the outcome. It's Pentium 4, it's the fastest machine, retro machine I have in my collection, so I'm pretty happy with it. And it didn't cost me much, because I only paid £5 for the hard drive and £5 for the video card. So all in all, it's pretty nice. I like the aesthetic of this thing, I like the form factor. It's not the greatest machine, but I don't care, it's totally fine. Couple of things missing from this computer are the eject button for the floppy drive here. Unfortunately, it is missing. I don't know where it is. I can try and ask the seller if by any chance they have it somewhere, but I doubt it, so that's going to be without the eject button for the floppy, and an extra fan, because this thing is getting pretty warm. Ignore the fact that I've been gaming a bit, but it's warm regardless, even when it's not doing anything. There's basically very little airflow inside this machine. The main fan is the power supply fan, which is very small, and then you've got the CPU fan with that plastic shroud, which is trying to create some airflow, but it's minimum, it's negligible. So I think I'll remove the shroud and install a fan where the grill is, so we have some actual airflow going out of this machine. When I collected the video card, I also collected these two network cards within the same price, by the way. One is a RJ45 from Realtek, and one is a US Robotics Wi-Fi. I've been thinking of putting this computer on my network, at least I can transfer files without having to use USB sticks or floppies. Do I want to go on the internet with Windows XP in 2024? Probably not the wisest thing to do, so maybe I'll refrain from doing that, but anyways, it'd be nice to have it on the network at least. Don't forget to leave a comment about whether this computer qualifies as being a retro machine or not. Is a Pentium 4 old enough to be called retro? I'm curious to hear your opinion. Just leave a comment down below. I'm really curious, and don't forget to come back if you like this kind of things, because I have more machines like this. Well, not exactly like this. I have 3 or 4 old cases coming from somewhere in horrible shape. I've no idea what's inside, what works and what doesn't. We'll have a look together. Some of those cases are gonna be just scavenging for parts. Some others, hopefully we can make them work. I have no idea what type of hardware there is inside. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, as usual, I'd appreciate a thumb up down below, and also consider subscribing to this channel if you like this kind of things. For now, thank you for watching. I wish you a great day, and I hope to see you again here soon on this channel for my next videos. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Bye-bye.